This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Sharifa Tahir. Headlines. The Guru Abhimani Teachers Appreciation Inaugural Ceremony will commence today. The Prime Minister instructs central bank officials to minimize problems when deducting loan payments from the public. Discussions between health and educational officials regarding reopening of schools soon. The government parties are ready to defeat the no-confident motion against the Energy Minister. The total deaths due to COVID-19 has risen to 2,374. In foreign news, Biden and Putin praise Geneva summit talks, but discord remains. In sports, Spain defender Sergio Ramos set to leave Real Madrid after 16 years. We move on to local news in detail. The Guru Abhimani Teachers Appreciation Inaugural Ceremony will commence today under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Temple Trees. The 2,500 rupees allowance will be provided to preschool teachers. The process also will begin tomorrow. A draft copy of the National Policy Plan for Preschool and Child Education will be presented to the Prime Minister today. The welfare of preschool teachers, a proposal on instruction or restructuring the preschool education system, short and long-term preschool education plans will also be discussed at this occasion. State Minister P.L. Nishanta said a draft copy on preschool and child education proposal and a policy plan will be submitted to the Prime Minister today. The proposed policy plan will be the basic platform to enact a law in this regard, the minister added. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, yesterday instructed the central bank officials when recovering debts to take appropriate steps to alleviate the problems faced by the people who are facing various difficulties in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister made this observation while participating in a discussion with central bank officials on the current economic situation. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa paid special attention to the problems faced by the people who obtained financial loans in the face of the epidemic. The Prime Minister instructed the relevant officials to take appropriate steps to minimize the problems faced by the debtors in recovering the loans. There was a lengthy discussion on the importance of devising a methodology to pay interest as well as the loan amount, as borrowers have become unable to repay the loan due to having to pay interest on installments first. The Prime Minister also drew attention to change the methodology by giving human consideration to the fact that there are many instances where the borrowers are facing the prospect of losing their home because of mortgaging their home when getting a loan. The central bank officials are expected to formulate a new mechanism in the near future. The government expects to reopen schools under proper health guidelines without delay. Education Minister Professor Jill Peary said that lengthy discussions are taking place between health and educational officials regarding reopening of schools soon. The minister added that the first phase of the reopening of schools is vaccination, and around 280,000 doses of vaccines are required in this regard. The government had launched initiatives like Guru Gedara and e-Taksalava platforms to educate the children from home, but none of them are effective as a classroom education. The minister added that the schools will only open under the guidance of consultants and specialists of the health sector. Samagi Janabalavegya has signed a no-confidence motion against Minister Udayagam Mampila. Signing of the motion commenced last morning at the opposition leader's office in Colombo. It has been prepared under 10 points. One of the accusations is that maintaining higher fuel prices up to now when the oil price was heavily reduced in the world market from January 2020. Another accusation is that not informing the public or Parliament about the profit earned by not reducing fuel price by the Petroleum Corporation and the government. The no confidence motion states that the minister has not revealed to the Parliament about the situation of the fund set up by the government to stabilize price by using the advantage of the reduction of price when the oil price increases. It was also stated that the subject minister is responsible for the negative impact on the entire economy due to increased production expenditure with the price hike. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news.
Now, EPF information and services through an SMS from HDFC Bank.
Continuing with more stories from the local arena, Gampaha Chief Magistrate Manjula Karnaratne further remanded the 3 suspects, including former Director of the Criminal Investigation Department, Senior Superintendent of Police Shani Abesekara, until the 30th of this month after they were granted bail by the Court of Appeal yesterday. Gampaha Magistrate Court remanded the 3 suspects as the bail conditions were not communicated in writing to the lower court. Earlier yesterday, the Court of Appeal informed the Gampaha High Court to release SSP Shani Abesekara, Sub-Inspector Sugath Mendes of the Ambilpitiya Police, and a third suspect who were remanded by the Gampaha Magistrates Court on a charge of fabricating evidence in a case filed against a group of suspects, including former DIG Vas Gunawardena. Accordingly, SSP Abesekara, S.I. Mendes and another individual were ordered to be released on a surety bail of 25,000 rupees each and 2 personal bail of 1 million rupees each. However, the suspects were further remanded as the bail order had not been produced before the lower court. According to the Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry, 2,436 new COVID-19 cases were reported yesterday. Among the positive cases identified Wednesday, 2,419 are from the New York COVID-19 cluster and 17 foreign arrivals currently in quarantine. According to the Epidemiology Unit report, a total of 230,692 COVID-19 cases have been reported and 34,232 infected patients are being treated at hospitals, while 194,145 patients have fully recovered and been discharged from hospitals. According to the Epidemiology Unit report, so far a total of 2,350,564 people have received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 677,353 have received the second dose. Sri Lanka reported that 59 deaths due to COVID-19 occurred yesterday. The Director General of Health Services confirmed that 59 deaths occurred yesterday, 15th June, without stating the total number of deaths due to the pandemic. Among yesterday's dead are 28 females and 31 males. The majority of the deaths, numbering 44, are in the over 60 years of age group. The Health Ministry has taken measures to change the procedure of announcing COVID-19 related deaths in a single day with effect from yesterday. According to the data reported by the Government Information Department, the total deaths due to COVID-19 since the pandemic began last March has risen to 2,374, including the deaths confirmed yesterday. That's on local news.
දැන් HDFC බැංකුවෙන් EPF ණයතොරතුරු හා සේවාවන් SMS එකකින්
රාජ්‍ය හා පෞද්ගලිකංශයේ රැකියාවේ නියුතු ඔබ කොහේ සිටියත් EPF ණයතොරතුරු හා සේවාවන් ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා කළ යුත්තේ EPF හිස්තැනක් නම හා ප්‍රදේශය සඳහන් කර 071 800 999ට SMS එකක් එවීම පමණයි.
HDFC බැංකුව ඔබ අප සුරකින්න බැංකුව.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Sri Lankan government has taken measures to increase the contribution by renewable energy sources to the national power grid by enhancing solar power generation as per the national policy framework Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor. India has become the first country to partner with Sri Lanka in fulfilling Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's vision to ensure that 70% of the island's national power requirements are fulfilled by renewable energy sources by 2030, as reiterated by the President during his address at the recently concluded Sri Lanka Investment Forum. The Government of India, one of the main stakeholders of Sri Lanka for this project, has entered into a bilateral loan agreement by extending a line of credit amounting to $100 million through the Export-Import Bank of India.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watchlight, Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga has instructed the relevant officials to formulate short and long-term plans for flood control in Gampaha, along with all stakeholders. The minister was speaking at a meeting yesterday to discuss the initiatives to be taken to control floods in Gampaha. That's on Watchlight. Moving on to world news headlines. Biden and Putin praised Geneva's summit talks, but discord remains. Myanmar village of Kinma burns down after clashes. China to launch first crew to new space station. World news in detail. The presidents of the US and Russia have praised their talks in Geneva but have made little concrete progress at the first such meeting since 2018. Disagreements were stated, said US President Joe Biden, but not in a hyperbolic way, and he said Russia did not want a new Cold War. Russian President Vladimir Putin said Mr. Biden was an experienced statesman and the two spoke the same language. The talks lasted around 3 hours, less time than was scheduled. Mr. Biden said they did not need to spend more time talking and there was now a genuine prospect to improve relations with Russia. As a gift to the Russian leader, Mr. Biden brought Mr. Putin a custom-made pair of aviator sunglasses, a style favored by the US president. It is unclear whether Mr. Putin gave Mr. Biden a gift. In 2018, the Russian leader gave former President Donald Trump a soccer ball after a meeting in Helsinki, Finland. The two sides agreed to begin a dialogue on nuclear arms control. They also said they would return ambassadors to each other's capitals. The envoys were mutually withdrawn for consultations in March after the US accused Russia of meddling in the 2020 presidential election. A village in the center of Myanmar has been burned down after clashes between the security forces and local guerrillas, leaving at least 2 people dead. Residents told that 200 of the 240 houses in Kinma were razed to the ground by the military on Tuesday. They said the incident began after forces clashed with the local militia opposed to the governing regime. Dan Shuk, UK ambassador to Myanmar, has condemned the attack. Finally, on world news, China is set to launch 3 astronauts into orbit to begin occupation of the country's new space station. The 3 men are expected to spend 3 months living and working aboard the Tianhe module, some 236 miles above the Earth. It will be China's longest crewed space mission to date, and the first in nearly 5 years. Their Shenzhou 12 capsule is primed atop its Long March 2F rocket. The event is another demonstration of China's growing confidence and capability in the space domain. That came to you on World News. Moving on to development news now. The High Commission of Australia in Colombo said Australia delivered essential coastal cleanup equipment to the Marine Environment Protection Authority to assist Sri Lanka's response to the MV Express Pearl incident. Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka David Hawley presented the equipment to Ms. Darshini Lahandapura, chairperson MEPA, yesterday. The cleanup equipment provided included 11,000 coveralls and 1,000 gloves and 30,000 face masks, 200 goggles, 300 pairs of protective footwear, and 200 helmets valued at 20 million rupees. At the handover, Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka David Hawley said Australia understands the challenging situation presented by the MV Express Pearl incident and Australia stands ready to assist Sri Lanka. As Indian Ocean Asian neighbours, Australia has a strong interest in the protection of Sri Lanka's maritime domain against maritime disasters, the High Commission said. That's on development news, and moving on to sports news now. In soccer, Russia secured their first win of Euro 2020 with a hard-fought victory over Finland in St. Petersburg. LSK Miranchuk put the hosts ahead in first half injury time with a fine curling finish despite being surrounded by defenders. Finland would have qualified for the last 16 with a win and thought they had opened the scoring, but Joel Poyanpalo header was ruled out for offside. The result leaves both sides on 3 points before their final Group B matches on Monday. Moving on to some cricket news, England suffered a late collapse against India after a sterling 95 from captain Heather Knight on the fluctuating first day of the one-off test in Bristol. The hosts slipped from 230 for 2 to 251 for 6, losing 4 wickets for 21 runs on a turning pitch before reaching 269 for 6 at the close. Knight, in her 100th match as England captain, was distraught to fall 5 runs short of a century after watching Nat Shiver and Amy Jones be dismissed in quick succession by rejuvenated India. India acquitted themselves well in their first test for 6 years, with debutant spinners Sneha Rana and Deepti Sharma taking 3 for 77 and 2 for 50 respectively. That's on sports news.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
A diamond believed to be the third largest ever found has been put on display in Botswana. The stone, weighing 1,098 carats, is shown to President Mogwitsi Masisi 2 weeks after the diamond firm Debswana unearthed it. The huge gem is only slightly less heavy than the world's second largest diamond, which was also found in Botswana in 2015. Botswana is Africa's largest producer of diamonds.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Colombo Bus continued its winning streak yesterday and retained in the green territory spearheaded by local investor interest. Thus, the all-share price index increased by 35.7 points to close at 7,641.2, while S&P SL20 index also increased by 21.2 points to close the day at 3,072.7. Moreover, LOLC Development Finance, Expo Lanka Holdings, LOLC Holdings, Haley's and Carson's Cumberbatch remained as the top positive contributors to the ASPI during the day.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Several spells of light showers will occur in western, central, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Matara districts. Wind speed will be 30 to 40 kilometers per hour in the western slope of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. The wind speed can be increased up to 50 kilometers per hour at times in these areas.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue in partnership with the Ministry of Education introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Back to the headlines. The Guru Abhimani Teachers Appreciation inaugural ceremony will commence today. The Prime Minister instructs central bank officials to minimize problems when deducting loan payments from the public. Discussions between health and educational officials regarding reopening of schools soon. The government parties are ready to defeat the no confidence motion against the Energy Minister. The total deaths due to COVID-19 has risen to 2,374. In foreign news, Biden and Putin praised Geneva summit talks, but discord remains. With that, we conclude the morning bulletin of news.